Next team in our season preview is Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg has been one of the top teams in Western Conference, but last season was a bit disappointment as they didn't reach the similar performance as a few years ago. How do you see, was that only bounce and now they are bouncing back to the normal level, or was that some kind of start of decline for this Winnipeg team?
I think Winnipeg is still a very good team. They had, of course, quite a lot of bad luck last year. Dustin Byfuglien decided to not play, and a couple of other issues with injuries and so on. So I think Jets are a little bit better than many expect this season. They are playing in the Canadian Conference or division now, so it will be extremely interesting to see all the rivalries relight again with the Canadian teams. Also from the East, the teams that they haven't played so much, like Toronto and Ottawa, of course. They were second in their division for 2 years in a row, and then they fell to ninth in the West last season. So it was, of course, a massive disappointment for them. It's a team that is really top heavy, so they have a big names in the offense, and then the defense is, let's say, be polite and just say horrible, because it's not NHL caliber at the moment. But they are looking to make some changes maybe there, so could be cool, could be something positive there as well. They did meet Calgary Flames in the playoffs last year, and that was something that they want to definitely forget, because Calgary Flames is now playing, of course, with them. So something to maybe playing a little bit with a chip on their shoulder after the playoff performance last season. So definitely a lot of improvement needed for this season, but I think Jets have the potential to surprise a lot of teams in the Canadian Conference. How about our simulations? How have we been doing with the Jets in the past couple of seasons?
Jets definitely have been one of the better teams during the last few years, as their home win percentage is 61. On the road, they have been also able to win over 51% of the games. And from the betting point of view, we have been quite accurate, I must say, because by many of the categories, bettors have been able to make money, and there has been a lot of bets to be placed, because over 82% of the home games have had some positive expected value, and also over 72% of the road games have positive expected value. So maybe bookmakers have underestimated a little bit Winnipeg overall in many games, and that has resulted that side value for them. And for example, on the road, when there has been side value, bettors have been able to profit $627 for every game during the last 3 seasons with positive expected value. But otherwise, there's no any big trends. Like I said, good team, and possibility to be at the same level if the defense will maybe improve a bit. But you mentioned some changes. Is there some moves that have been done, or moves that are hanging around on the rumor mill, or some of your opinions that they need to improve?
Yeah, of course, the defense is like, you can't talk too much of that defense, because it's been the Achilles heel for a couple of seasons actually. They have great goaltender in Connor Hellebuyck. Their offense is, of course, loaded with talent, but of course then when they're gonna meet Toronto, Edmonton with Connor McDavid and Mitch Marners and Austin Matthews, it's gonna be a tough challenge for that team. But of course, if you score 7 to 8 goals a game, it's likely that you win at least enough to make the playoffs. But definitely Paul Maurice needs to do better in organizing the defense and finding a way to make the the defensive play from the offense as well a lot more solid. But I do think that they are able to make the playoffs, and their offense is really scary, and it's interesting to see them play against the lower ranked teams in the Canadian division. Do we have some trends against their divisional rivals? How have they been doing?
There are a few trends that are worth to mention here. First of all, Vancouver maybe haven't been the best team in the West in the past, but Winnipeg have been able to win every game that they've played during the last 3 years against Vancouver. And you mentioned Edmonton. That has been also quite good matchup for the Winnipeg, because Jets have won 78% of the games in this same time span. Calgary was difficult, maybe part of the last year playoff misery, and they have been able to win only 45%, and this similar kind of tendency is quite clear with teams from the eastern part of Canada that are now in same division but were not earlier. So Montreal and Toronto have had good chances against Winnipeg. Only Ottawa, that has been again a bit lower level team during the last few seasons, have over 50% win probability with the Jets. So I think it's quite interesting matchup between these teams. Winnipeg can definitely win all of them when they are playing well, but are they playing well all the time? And is that enough to reach playoffs? I think these are the questions that we can answer only when the season starts. How about the roster? Is there some star caliber player outside of the top 6 that will be there this season or upcoming seasons, if there are some youngsters who are upcoming through the ranks to solidify the defense of the Jets?
Well, of course, everyone who likes Jets would hope so, but it doesn't really look like that. They're a very, let's say, mediocre team in defense after the top pairing, which is, of course, Neil Pionk and Josh Morrissey, who are elite level puck movers, really good top pairing. But it will be interesting to see who will then step up if they manage to find some way to defend better. But if it looks like it did last year, it will be difficult to win games. The offense, of course, is excellent, and the top 6 is probably one of the best in the NHL, with Paul Stastny returning to feed Patrick Leina if he stays. Blake Wheeler, Mike Scheifele, Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, all almost point per game or better players in a full season. So there isn't a lot of better top 2 lines, but then the bottom 6 is not that good, especially offensively, but they can play defense better. So it will be again up to Paul Morris to figure out how to get some secondary scoring from his bottom 6 forwards, and how to get the team play better defense overall, because those top 2 lines need to play better in defense as well to help this mediocre group. Of course, the situation with Patrick Laine has been speculated that he would be on the trade block, and they would be looking for a leading defenseman to their defense. But that's something that we have no idea how it's going to end up. So we have to wait and see. But I do think that with this roster, Jets can definitely challenge for the playoffs if only Morris finds a way to just make sure that their defense is not as bad as it was last season. How about our simulations team-wise? How have we been doing with the Jets in these past 2-3 seasons?
There has been quite a bit difference between Vegas line and our points simulation for the season futures. For example, 3 years ago, Vegas line was 91.5. We predicted 97, and the result was 114. So we were in the right track and naturally covered the total a bit easily, but they still managed to make 7 points more than, no, actually 17 points more than we predicted. Then 2 years ago, we predicted them to continue and win actually the Western Conference, go over 106.5 points, but that time they were not as hot as predicted, got 99 points and 4th place in the conference, so that wasn't correct. And then last season our prediction was then that team would be 4th, going over 92.5, actually quite clearly with 99 points. Of course the season was cut short, and Winnipeg got 80 points out of 71 games, so if they would be hitting a bit more than point per game, they would be very close to the total line 92.5. But we never know because the season was not completed as it was projected beginning of the season. How about this time? Any bets that you would recommend, maybe winning the division or maybe even Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I think maybe Jets are a little bit undervalued at the moment because of that really bad last season. But we have to remember there was a lot of misfortune in there with both with the injuries and all these sort of mix-up, and of course then the defense suffering for the loss of Dustin Byfuglien early on. So I think Jets might have some value in the winning of the division even. Stanley Cup also, if they manage to get a couple of, or maybe even one leading defenseman who can lead the defense, they might be actually a proper contender then. Of course, it's a long shot. We have to remember that the odds are quite high for Jets to win the division. The odds are as high as 1,000. So even with a really small bet, you can maybe get some excitement for the season. And for winning the Stanley Cup, the odds are somewhere around 4,500. Actually, no, they've fallen a bit, so it's 3,800 at the moment. So I wouldn't maybe go all the way to Stanley Cup, but definitely the winning of the division is quite possible because we have teams like Toronto, we have teams like Edmonton, who nobody really knows how they're going to perform. They actually might have quite similar issues as Winnipeg does with the defense and the balance of the team.
Yeah, I agree with the division that it could provide a chance for Jets to be the surprise team there, and especially with more emphasis now on the game against the Montreal's and Toronto's, Ottawa's that they haven't played previously in same division and same conference. So I think there is chance, especially when we think about the odds that there is 1,000 to win the division and 3,800 to win Stanley Cup, and I think winning division regular season is quite a bit easier than winning Stanley Cup through the playoffs.
Absolutely, and the odds I think indicate that if they manage to win the division, they're really pretty much favored then to win the Stanley Cup. The difference is not that big.
We'll place our small bets and see how money keep pouring in.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Very good.